10th City Council meeting. It's October 15th, 2024. We welcome those that are present in person and those online with us. We start tonight's festivities off at 5 o'clock with a work session. Topic was urban chicken ordinance review. Made some headway on that. Not nearly finished, so we'll bring that back and look at that review again, or review that again and again to make that right. We'll move on to our roll call. Item number 2. Tom is here. Amy Rodriguez is out of town, and so Tom will be covering city manager duties and recorder duties tonight. So
okay,
everybody speaks slowly and clearly, so you can take notes.
right. Well, I'm not taking notes, but this recorder is.
Okay, so speak clearly into your microphone so Amy can hear those, and so that those online can also hear us clearly. So Tom, we'd like a roll call, please.
Okay, Councilmember Christiansen.
Here.
Councilmember Sean.
Here.
Councilmember West.
Here.
Councilmember Thomas.
Here.
Mayor Allen.
Here.
Councilmember Parkinson is excused.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. Item number 3 is our pledge of allegiance. You can all rise and repeat the pledge with me, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for your helping with that pledge of allegiance. Appreciate that. Again, we welcome you all with us tonight. Let's move on to our consent items. Item 5.1, approval of tonight's agenda and October 1st, 2024 council meeting minutes. Understand there was a couple of small changes to our minutes. Did you get those passed along?
Yeah, the ones that I noticed, I emailed to Amy.
Okay, and
I used to email it.
yeah,
And
same
as well.
thing. Okay, so with those changes, any objection to the approval of tonight's agenda and our council meeting minutes from October 1st? Seeing none, we'll approve those by general consent. Thank you very much. Item number 6 tonight is a special order. Tonight's special order is a public hearing. Public hearing tonight is amendment to fiscal year 2024-2025 budget to receive and consider comment on amending fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. At this time, we'll have a short presentation for the staff. Afterwards, we'll have some questions and things from council. I'll then open it up to the speak on the matter. So, staff,
I'm going to turn it over to Sri, our
okay.
finance director.
I'd like to invite you here up and welcome her with all our numbers. Thank you.
Here, it's been a while, so
It has
it's good to come back. Okay, let's go with this adjustment. Ask questions, interrupt me, whatever you'd like to do to make sure you're comfortable with it. I'm going to slow this adjustment down just a little bit than what you've seen in the past. I accompanied a staff report with this adjustment to give you a little bit more background on adjustments. So hopefully this is helpful, and hopefully it might be a good refresher for those that have been here in previous years. So each year, as part of the budget cycle, the first budget adjustment of the year, generally staff will propose to council and mayor an adjustment that includes rolling over unexpended funds from the previous year. This rolling over effect is typical with capital projects and not operating budgets. Why is that? The reason why is that capital is encumbered or appropriated based off of the project or the capital investment, whereas operating costs are not. They are encumbered or appropriated based off of an operating cycle or a fiscal cycle. So in capital projects, what you'll oftentimes see is that they will span over multiple years. And so those funds that have been left unexpended, I use the term, we used to roll over any unexpended funds so that we see that accumulation. A couple of reasons that we see that rolling over effect, there's actually 2 that I identify in the staff report. The first thing is incomplete capital projects, and I give you some examples of that. So those are active projects that are happening now that span over multiple fiscal years. So you'll see that rolling over effect in these situations. Other examples would be accumulating resources for future capital investment purchases. Could be projects, could be equipment, it could be various things. And you'll see that rollover effect until adequate resources have been accumulated over multiple years to be able to procure the capital item. So those are a couple of examples there. To really get a good idea on kind of that rollover effect, you can also refer to the city's 5-year capital investment plan, which is in the budget document. Look into the summary, budget summaries. You'll see the capital investment plan, and you'll see how we do oftentimes fund capital investments over multiple years, thus the rollover effect. That's really going over the staff report in a brief. The proposal that we're asking for you tonight, and you'll see that outlined in the budget worksheet, is basically just itemizing that same idea with various capital investments throughout the city, rolling over those funds that were not expended from the previous year and building them into the current year budget. The look is a little bit different on the worksheet, you may or may not notice. What I wanted to show you in this worksheet, to the left column, the first 3 columns of the left is all prior year activity, prior year budget, prior year actual, and unexpended amounts. The 3 columns to your right are current year budget, the prior year rollover amount, the amounts that were unexpended, and then adjusted out to a current year adjusted budget amount. I thought that would kind of be a good little perspective. Generally, you don't see the left-hand column, but I built that in because I thought it would kind of add a little more clarity on that rollover effect from the prior year. So that really is all that's in the budget adjustment that's being proposed tonight. There's nothing else to be considered, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you, Sheree. I like the way you put that together, prior years, current years, separating out. It's very easy to understand. So thank you, appreciate that. We're always going way ahead and you need those prior years to
Yeah.
see where you're coming from. So
Yeah.
I should appreciate that.
Good.
That's great. Any questions for Sheree on this, on any of the adjustments to the environment tonight? No, it's good. All right, Sheree, thank you. Appreciate that report. All right, at this time, we don't have any public that would like to speak on our budget adjustment. You come here, anybody? Okay, seeing none, we'll go out of the public citizen hearing portion. We'll go back to council. Any questions? Final questions, council? Seeing none, we will close the special order and close the public hearing. So thank you, Sheree. Thank you for your time on this. Appreciate that. Okay, time, ladies and gentlemen, let's move to citizen comments. Item number 7. Anybody would like to come forward and
Do we need to take action on that?
we'll take action on that later. Resolution item 8.1. Amending fiscal year budget. Okay. Citizen comment. Anybody like making citizen comment tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll move right on to item number 8, new business. Here we will take some action. Resolution 24-15. This is approval of resolution amending the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. Sheree, any additional on that? Okay, good presentation. Appreciate that. Tom, from staff, any comments or questions?
Nothing additional, Mayor.
Okay, council, any questions on the ordinance or on the resolution before you? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve.
The motion to approve resolution 2415 to approve the amending of the 2024-2025 fiscal budget.
Okay,
Second.
motion is second. Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Seeing none, there'll be a roll call vote. Tom?
Council, I just want to make sure I'm not doing these. I don't have the specific order. Forgive me. Councilmember Christiansen.
Yes.
Councilmember Zishan.
Yes.
Councilmember West.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas,
Yes.
thank you.
Then they turn their nameplate side, Mr. Thomas.
I don't know your name.
Sure, that's a tough job over there. Next to you, right? Okay. Thank you, I appreciate that. Now, next time you start with Z,
Got it,
okay?
Okay.
Next time you start.
got it.
Back of that one more thing. There will be a. Thank you. Eight
Thanks.
point two, ladies and gentlemen, motion slash resolution 24-09. This is approval of ordinance to amend the Washington Terrace City Municipal Code, section 19-19.01.130 to comply with state law relating to stormwater regulations. I see Tannen standing up and ready to give a presentation, so we'll allow him to take the podium. Thank you.
Shannon actually has been obviously taking the lead on this where he is our stormwater manager for the city and does a really nice job keeping us in compliance and keeping us fed with a lot of great information. So Tannen,
Thank you. Dan does a
Floor
great
is
job.
yours.
He takes stormwater very, very seriously, and I appreciate it. So we finally got a project off cleaned up that we're both. Dan, go ahead.
All right, so Mayor and Council, the ordinance to be amended tonight, as mentioned, gone over in the staff report that was submitted. Is in response to state legislature change to state code that occurred earlier this year, last legislative session. So what began as House Bill 507, construction amendments, is now Utah Code 19-5-18.3. Essentially what that does is it sets statewide regulations for how municipalities, MS4s across the state interact with construction site stormwater. So that's something that we're required to do from state regulation and EPA regulation. Basically what happens here is it is kind of making that uniform, the response uniform across the state in some ways that it wasn't necessarily. Specifically, what it would require ordinance change in our city is the way that enforcement happens for stormwater violations on construction sites. So whereas before there was some leeway for different MS4s, municipalities to decide how they would enforce compliance on those sites, now there's this bill mandates a certain enforcement strategy. So essentially what has been, what we're recommending here is Bill Morris wrote up a revision to the city ordinance that is tied to the state code change. But it's expected that there will be additional changes made at the state level next year in the new legislative session. So with the ordinance change recommended here, it essentially ties our construction code and response into the construction stormwater to the state regulation. So we recommend that the ordinance change is approved. There are no expected additional fiscal impact from this code change. It really what's changing is our enforcement strategy for construction stormwater to match the state requirements. Yes.
So Tannen, what you're saying then is the way this is written is that as the changes go through the state, our ordinance will automatically adjust to the state law.
That is
Is
correct.
that what you're saying?
Yeah, so if it does change again in the next legislative session, our city code will automatically update to mirror that instead of having to come back in next year and change code again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Any questions on that or?
any questions? Well, that will help you. And everything's safe, everything's in line with everybody else.
Yeah, it'll, I mean, yes, we'll have that. We have already have an enforcement strategy, that's been outlined in code. I think that this will especially help, contractors as they go from city to city, because then everything will work the same from their point of view.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Any questions for Tannen? Council? Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, council, you have, ordinance 24-09 in front of you. If there are no further questions, and staff recommends passage, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve, ordinance 24-09, stormwater state compliance.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Will be a roll call vote. Tom?
Councilmember Zashawn,
Yes.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas,
Yes.
Councilmember Christiansen.
Yes.
Okay, now unanimous. Thanks very much. Thank you, Tom, for that. Move on to item 8.3, presentation, fire department quarterly report. You have Chief with us? Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for having me here. We need to get this opened up. Just start off, so call volume for this quarter, medical calls were 279 medical calls, within from July to September, or the end of September, with a total of 296 calls. That's in so fire and medical. 95 of those calls were to the nursing homes, so we're thinking right about that 32% on calls that were responding to those for nursing homes in our city. Some good news, the Romer Park porta potty stuff has been squared away. The 3 gentlemen came in and paid their restitution on the porta potty to the city. That's been taken care of. And with the help of one of the deputies, the citations have been issued to the 3 of them. So they will still have to appear in court or whatever they decide to do with that citation.
Great job. Great job, team over there. Yeah, we went to the high school with teachers and school resource officers. It wasn't too difficult.
No, it wasn't. It was actually pretty interesting once Tom put that video up on how fast it was noticed, and we knew a good idea. At least 2 of them were. So
Good.
that's all squared away. Weaver County has been working on a pre-disaster mitigation plan. We had a big part in that. A lot of that was done. We're using our capital improvement plan for stormwater, replacing pipes and that sort of stuff. Our 5-year mitigation plan there, which goes into that. We have submitted that to the county. They've approved that, and it goes into their 5-year plan to the state for approval. So we should hear back shortly where that falls in, but our excited about that. One more thing for you. In the last little bit, me and Tom have been working diligently trying to get our emergency management up and running like we had years ago. One thing that we've been doing with our staff is getting them trained in what we call ICS 100, 200, 700, and 800. There's some training that we will be sending out to the city council members to help you understand a little bit about the ICS and NIM system in an emergency. As you know, the Terrace we've had quite a bit of our own little disasters here over the years. So it'll be good just to have a basic understanding on how that sort of stuff works for the city council. So there's some specific trainings for city council. It's all online, just kind of do it at your own pace sort of thing, nothing complicated. It's more dry than anything, but at least give you a good understanding of where we're at. And then going back to calls, sorry, I kind of got out of line here, but last year, our total call volume that we ran in the city was 1,248 calls for service. That's both medical and fire. This year, we're projected number-wise to be 1,309 calls if we continue on the pace that we're at. So that's a 5% increase in call volume to do with it, that we're running in Washington.
You said percentage.
5%. 32% of calls to the nursing homes, yes, and we're staying pretty average with that 32%.
That's way down from 10 years ago, right? No?
No, we're about, it's since I've been the chief, we've been about that 32. I think there may be one time here there we're at 40%, but it's usually in that low 30s. And some good news now. The better news, the fire truck, we have it here in the state. It's been stickered and decaled for us. And then they're just fixing one more little issue they had with it, which isn't a big deal, just where it came from. The way we keep batteries charged in it when it's sitting in the bay is not ideal for what we do here around this area, what's called an auto eject. So when it's plugged in, it's charging. As soon as you start the engine up, that cord bumps out, so it's not attached. Where it came from, they did things a little different. They had a pig, like a 6-inch pigtail off the back side of it, and they just plugged directly into that pigtail. when a call came, they would just drive away and hope that it pulled loose. So they're just finishing up, putting that auto eject in, it should be done this week. So I'll have it here Friday, and then me and Tom are working on some sort of ceremony. Post cutting, push in something that we'll do here in the near future for it.
We like ceremonial ribbon cuttings in creative ways.
We do.
So spray mayor.
It's kind of like that, yeah.
Well, it's 5 o'clock this afternoon.
I had a long day.
Oh, he takes out me before he goes home to his wife.
Anytime you wanna come down to the fire station and put on some gear and spray some water, I'm more than glad to take you through that.
Okay, all right,
Any questions for me?
great, chief, thank you.
I'm just kind of amused at the irony of the fire hazard. Driving off and hoping that by the fire department.
Yes, they come back, there's electrical fire in the house and burn it down, you know, it's like, Fire, all right, thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Thanks, Brandon.
All right. My favorite, 8.4, animal control quarterly report. It really is my favorite. I got some questions tonight.
What's that? Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't say it wasn't really good, I just said. Just not the same.
She's got my back. Somebody's got to around this place.
That's right. All right, welcome, appreciate you being on.
Nothing wrong on my end. I think the most exciting thing we had is my partner went out on 2 chickens that were tied up with baling twine, waiting for a birthday party.
Now what, birthday party for chickens or what?
It was a family birthday party and they were supposedly going to eat the chickens.
That's right. Oh, okay,
See what we get ourselves in.
yeah, okay, let's allow.
Other than that, I mean, it's
Write that down, Jess.
random roaming dogs and barking dogs, but yeah, that's probably the most exciting
Okay, so
thing that
not,
we've had.
nothing real serious, no 9 dogs in one house,
Yeah.
or anything like that. Okay, sorry I brought it up. Look, I got one question, we're talking about license. How much is a dog license?
So mine in my city, it's $10 for a fixed dog and $30 for an unaltered dog. But I wanna say your guys is a little bit different. I think yours is like 12 and 25.
Okay,
It's been a long time since
okay,
I filled out licensing tickets.
okay, that's a yearly license.
Yeah, so your guys is run, yearly to the month. that you
Okay.
have them.
With the dog, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have, just give me a guess, what's our percentage of our dogs that are licensed in our city?
I wouldn't even know. Even want to be the one that would run the report on.
Okay.
We only get the report when it's people that are late that we have to go and talk to.
Oh, okay, okay. And do you kind of start with the list, rather do a spring or maybe going out and pushing licenses? Do you still do that?
And so typically, like any dog that is out running that we encounter the owner or when we have a call that we respond to, for dogs, we make sure that their license will go out, but we don't have like a blanket canvas. We tried to do that one time and it started a huge hornet's nest where we had people calling in and complaining that they wanted to know which neighbor had ratted them out for not licensing their dog. And it was a huge debacle, so we actually didn't do it again, because we had so much backlash on it. Because people were so angry at all their neighbors, because they thought it was their neighbors that did it.
Even though they're supposed to license a dog. And
Yeah.
you're $12
and it's literally all we did is drive by, and if there was a dog in the yard, we left a card. That was all it was. We tried to explain it to them, but that's all it was, but they were convinced it was on any river at all.
Do you think you could kind of give me an estimate of what's the percentage?
Yeah.
If you don't, you can pass it on to comps, you can pass it on to experience. So that's how you. Get those dogs, yeah, just curious to see how many we have. Like total number.
Yeah.
I guess total number would be good, how would you know? A percentage, you know?
So I think yours is in like an Excel spreadsheet,
Oh,
so it's a little bit more complicated to run it.
oh,
We use a program called Chameleon that we piggyback off of Weaver County, and it has a bunch of statistic processes none of it. They tell you all those different things, so I'll have to get with her and see.
okay, I just want to fall apart, I'm just. I don't know. Okay. Okay, anything else? Yes,
I
yeah.
have a question, and I don't have a stuffed animal, so I'm gonna ask Will here often. I had a citizen reach out that's walking her dog. And along 300 West, there's yards that back, that sidewalk. And there are wood fences, and there's dogs that are breaking through the fence a little bit, and the citizen's nervous about walking alongside, because it's a really aggressive sounding dog. But it's hitting against a front fence that's actually bulging as it hits out. So I'm not sure the process of what to do for that in this case.
So that one honestly would fall into a gray area. Where in the fence that isn't really carefully sound for somebody that's walking by. Most times we're dealing with neighbors that have dogs that are hitting the fences. Until it actually breaks through the fence, it's not breaking the law.
Okay.
There's not legally anything we can do about it, like actually breaching that barrier. We recommend people reinforce their own property to protect themselves, but yeah, in that instance, there's not really a whole lot that I can do on my end. We recommend that people carry mace, carry walking sticks and stuff like that in the event that they do encounter dog days.
I was feeling like it was gonna be kind of a fiddly point, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, the gray area, unfortunately.
Okay. Anybody else? Any comments? I have one comment. There's one young lady who pushes a stroller, the child. Maybe you've seen this woman. And she's got, her dog is on a leash. Walked in front of her. And in charge, this dog is in charge with the leash on. However, the leash is rolled up and he's got the leash in his mouth. So he's on a leash, but he's walking himself. But it's the cutest thing I've ever seen. I just love it. And I want to get a picture, but this way I think, oh, gee, you know, you can take a picture of me, but it's but it's like, it's just so, I love it. It's like, oh, I'm on a leash, you know.
That's why we specifically put in there that it has to be physically held.
Oh, that's in the rules. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you can let their dog drag the leash.
Drag the leash. Oh, yeah.
Physically attached to the end, but I don't care how long it is.
Okay. So the dog's holding on the leash, but it specifically says the owner of the dog has to be holding. Okay, maybe it does not. You know what?
No, I remember that actually, one of the points when we were going over it.
Okay, it's
This is
pretty,
why we have to be specific. And
that's right, very specific.
Very
It is,
specific.
every time I see it, I just love it, so. It's the only
on a leash.
Okay, well, all right. Okay, anybody else? No, okay,
No, thanks.
thank you, appreciate the job you do, and, throw Tom over a couple numbers for me. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Oh, my other favorite, 8.4. Is Sheriff's Office Quarterly Report. Got two 8.4s there, recorder, city recorder.
Do we?
Yeah, what did you do?
I meant to put 4, 5, and 6 and I made a clerical error.
Okay,
I guess I'm actually at 8.5.
you're 8.45.
Okay. There's the-
Yeah, because there is an 8.5, but you're 8.4.
Thanks for having me. It's good to see you guys again.
Thank you, thank you.
Just had a few things for the third quarter in August as school started. We were doing the debatable, was it phone down, eyes up, or eyes up, phones?
Either way, just
Either way.
pay
So
attention to where you're
I
driving.
struggled with that. It took me 5 minutes just to figure out how to write that for sure, because we've been back and forth there. Anyway, I think it was a successful crosswalk awareness week, we could call it, or at least the first few days. That was a cooperative effort with fire as well, so. And the next page over, I've got the calls for service and traffic stops. Pretty typical, we're down a little bit from last year, about 11.6%, which isn't huge, but so we had 1,390 calls for service for the third quarter. Each month was between 440 and 503 calls.
Well, that's not a lot, that's almost 200. Isn't it? That's not a lot.
Yeah, 200 for the quarter,
Yes. That's
11%.
Yeah. That's, yeah. Uh-huh.
It is a little bit, you know, if you look over the previous years, you have 2021, it went up a couple hundred. You know, 1 to 200 fluctuation, especially with the traffic stops in there.
Yeah,
That could be, that allows for a little more. If it was without traffic stops, I would be a little more like, what's up with that? But, you know, there could be some more fluctuation because of traffic stops, because of where we were focusing our traffic efforts at the time and things like that, so.
so, but this 1,390 doesn't include traffic stops now.
Yes, correct.
So, okay,
Mhm.
well, I'm pretty happy with those, I hope we're getting the service, I hope we're, hope really we have 200 less people calling and having a problem. That's what I hope is really happening,
Yes, correct. Yeah, that'd be,
that's good.
there's obviously gonna be a good portion of that for sure.
Yeah, okay.
The yearly outlook, and you know, it's pretty typical, the 12% fluctuation, as you can see, over the last 5 years. 12% is about a high of the fluctuation over the last 5 years, so I think we're pretty within normal, what we would expect to see there. Pulled out just a few cases, probably a few too many, maybe, I don't know how many cases you like to hear about. There's quite a few cases, obviously, with almost 1,400 for 3 months, but there's a lot of things happening that go unnoticed. So these are just a few things that kind of caught my eye. One of them was deputies got into a foot pursuit at the Maverick with a shoplifter and ended up using force. Taser was deployed. Minimal force was used and the person was taken into custody without further incident. This one was kind of interesting, a domestic disturbance that turned into kind of a wrestling match with a highly intoxicated male that the party, all the other people at the place got very interested and surrounded the deputies, so it quickly escalated. Ended up just using hands-on force, so nothing, we were able to take him into custody without any real incident, and in spite of what it could have been. And that was a cooperative effort with some other law enforcement as well that came in and helped. And then on Ridgeline Drive, this one I felt was kind of worthy of note. There's an autistic 18-year-old male. Unfortunately, we're seeing more of these types of incidents in the communities, where he had a knife and was threatening himself and others. Deputies were able to handle that and de-escalated that without any incident, no use of force at all. So, pretty outstanding job with that. That's a pretty difficult situation to be in with a young man, so. The next one was the Porta-John, which you heard from
the fire chief a little bit about, and that was quite a cooperative effort. We've talked about that quite a few times. It's actually led into, with Tom, we've talked about using cameras at Lions Park and some other things, and I think some of those things are very important to enforcing and deterring crime. So as you know, that was key in being able to identify the suspects in this, and with significant property damage. So that was a great resolution with that. So again, cooperative effort. Let's see, the last one was just a recovered stolen vehicle. The vehicle actually fled from deputies and they did not pursue. Due to public safety concerns, they chose not to pursue in this matter, and which was probably a good choice. The vehicle ended up being ditched, which is pretty common with a stolen vehicle. The vehicle was recovered, and the suspects haven't been apprehended, but at this point, I think that's the most favorable resolution we can have. It's much better than an accident happening or, you know, further things going on there. But even though the suspects haven't been arrested as of this date yet, there are some leads and little things that we should be looking at on that one. So that was everything that I had. Do you have any questions for me?
Okay, thank you, Ted, appreciate that.
Good, thanks.
And those cars you retrieve, are they usually trashed or are they usually just thrown?
It depends. It's kind of a mix. You know, a lot of times they'll just take them for a joyride and then ditch them. Usually if they don't crash, they're not too bad. Usually the key's been jimmied or, you know, little things like that, but it's not uncommon to have a car that's not too broken up, but then there's the other ones where quite a few do get broken up, so, yeah.
All right, good. Well, that was a good report. I like seeing those calls for service way down. They're not way down. Yeah, that's great. So,
Yeah.
appreciate that. The traffic division is still out there a little bit, I've noticed. So,
Yes, and that is something, I know there's been some parking issues that have been dealt with. I ran out of time trying to get some of those pulled, but I know that's been a big concern. We've been working on the ordinance and things like that. And so we're still keeping on top of that where we can for now until things are, you know, looked at that way.
until December 1st. And we have a whole new issue. Then we get everybody.
Then it's
off the
a
road.
very easy issue at that point.
Very good. Everybody's off
It's an easy, straightforward.
right?
Yep.
Everybody off the road. So,
But we've got some good language we're working with that we reached out to other cities to get some ideas and came up with some nice feedback from others. So we're working with Lieutenant Bill and others to help us get something that'll work to get some trailers and equipment off the streets.
all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate your team. And we have yes. All right.
Okay, 29th at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Yes, and that is, yeah, very important.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, put that in your calendar here. That's, I think that's on yeah, 29th. No, it's should be Tuesday, fifth Tuesday. It should be. Try to go on the fifth Tuesday. When it comes up. So, let's see, yeah. October 29th at 6. The sheriff's. We'll talk about ride sharing, whatever, as we get closer to that day, if you would like to ride out there together, but, I've got kind of special invitation from the sheriff. So, I will definitely be there, but it'd be nice to have a couple of us there, so. Can't make it, put our account there. All right, let's move on. Let's see, item number 8.5, discussion / motion. Adoption of a statement of civility, statement of expected decorum and communication. I approached Paul with the election time just drives me crazy with election decorum and stuff like that. It's just silly, it's ridiculous. And so I just asked Tom maybe, you know, what he knows about maybe putting together a little something we can, you know, maybe remind people that we're just all trying to do this together. We're all trying to work together. We're all trying to work on chickens together. We're all trying to elect officials that will work together and make this country a better place. It's just not working very well, right? But in our city, we want it to work like that. So I asked Tom to kind of put something together. He mentioned that in another city that his wife may be associated with, that they have done a little something like this, and so we thought we'd give it a shot. So Tom, you wanna kind of give us a little idea of what you got in mind here? For
Sure. A couple of years ago, Utah League of Cities and Towns started their work with the Dignity Index. And you've all seen this, you've all kind of gone through this, and this isn't dead and gone from the Utah League of Cities and Towns. But for us, as a really quick, easy reminder, it's a little cumbersome. It's some great information, because even this has made a difference with how legislators and the league and elected officials are communicating on the Hill. And that goes a long ways to helping people understand and be understood. So what I put together is a really brief statement that is as kind of condensed that we can have in even on our name tags on the rostrum up here for staff. We're gonna have some staff training on what this might look like, is to encourage communication that isn't, aggressive, snarky, obnoxious, mean, no yelling, ridiculousness. Let's just work through these things. You can be professionally. And there are times when staff even has to be firm but fair. We have to be firm. There's times that when we talked about this in staff meeting today, let me read it to you so you know what we're referencing. That Washington Terrace City is committed to civility. We strive to act and speak with dignity, courtesy, and respect at all times. All are asked to join us and to act and speak accordingly. We were talking about that in staff meeting this morning, and there is a component to that, interestingly enough, that let's say that we put that for everyone that comes to the front counters. There are some people that will come to court that will use that actually as a verbal weapon. They'll actually turn it on its head and weaponize a comment like this, where they will say, well, you're being rude to me. And they will start using that as a way to antagonize staff, particularly when someone is not happy with what's going on at the window. So what we're looking at doing is, at least for that environment, is we'll use it as a reminder to staff that person on the other side may be ridiculousness. And we've had this. You'll have somebody that's very abrasive, very condescending, swearing, yelling, going off on all manner of ridiculousness. And our staff will, at times, I have had to do this as well. Sir, ma'am, if this conversation continues in this manner, I'll need to end our phone call. That's the protocol around here for we're done. You may call back, but if this continues, we'll be done. And if it continues, the phone gets hung up. That's simple. They may call back. And many times the tone will change, and they'll start at least talking straight across on what their problem is so that we can resolve the issue. So I realize that's a pretty harsh example, but let's go ahead and pull that thread back into here. Is that when we're dealing with people here, is on both sides of that conversation, the respect, the dignity, that we act to speak with dignity, courtesy, and respect at all times. All are asked to join us. You can have conversations. I have conversations quite a bit with people that we may not agree with. City standards, policy, procedures don't necessarily agree with maybe some of the ideas that someone might call in with, whether it's me or a member of my staff. And as long as we're having a conversation straight across, that's fine. We expect staff to be professional. We also expect staff to pull the thread back when things go silly. So, and the same as talked, by the mayor is how do we do that also for elected officials? So have a formal civility messaging along with public comment section for meetings. So that phrase would be included underneath. You have 3 minutes, and you have 3 minutes for public comment, whatever that sounds like, Mayor. I don't remember the exact words. And then in Washington Terrace City is committed to, and that is read before the citizen comment period to encourage that type of dialogue, because we can always deal with truth, even though it's not the truth we want to hear. And we can also deal with someone who is communicating respectfully. And so that's kind of the proposal. You can either take or leave all of it, but that's an idea to consolidate it into just a brief statement of civility.
Thank you, Tom. I loved it. It's like one sentence, and it kind of says it all. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody, council, we're very fortunate in our community. We have great people. I talked to a lot of mayors, I talked to a lot of commissioners, and there's some people out there that sometimes a little crazy, and we have really had very, very little of that over the years. And so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for our community, for our citizens that most of the time can act civil, and sure appreciate that. But I think we all need to be reminded in these times that we all can probably do a little bit better, or we can think about this at all times, just in case we get confronted. I mean, we've got thick glass in between our people in the foyer and our ladies that collect the money for a reason. We had problems years and years ago. And, so there's thick glass there for a reason. And it's never been a problem, and, since, and we hope it never will be. So, but it's always a great reminder. It's really so. I love the idea. And we'll put it, put it right here in the back of our things, we'll put it up on a podium, we'll put it up on the table. And we'll have staff who have access to that all the time. And, there we go. So I would appreciate, your support of that, and let's keep that in front of us at all times. And Carol, welcome back from my job.
Golden off the street.
There you go. Thanks for joining us.
You have to pass that chicken ordinance with our youth.
Yeah. Florida.
Mayor, did you want a motion on this?
Yeah, I would like the motion to accept that. as
Yeah, I would make a motion to adopt this. All points listed on the stability statement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on that? I sure appreciate your support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Tom,
Thank you.
print them up, get the presses rolling.
We'll
Let's
get that going.
get that out in front of people. I like that. I really like that idea.
You brought it up nicely. It's not like we've got this great big problem right now, but it's just that opportunity to pause and say, am I being civil with this person? Am I working well? And do I need to pause? And do I need to even step back sometimes? We're talking in staff meeting with law enforcement. If people push you far enough, you can get someone to respond. This might be that pause that helps us to avoid being less than civil. In law enforcement, one of the other officers can see a situation and it's escalating and get between or say, hey, why don't I finish this up for you for a minute? Give them that separation so that they can more effectively deal with the problem that may be at hand. So this is just a moment to say, oh yeah, we'll just give it a minute.
No, I like it. I like it. Did a good job on that, Tom. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to council communication with staff. And Mike, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I had a resident come to me and ask if there was any way that they could form with a little bit of help from the city on like with trash bags and stuff to do a cleanup before, heavy rains come and snow. Just some help with the trash bags and maybe donuts for those that come.
What would they be cleaning?
The streets, the gutters and stuff. So it's like a pre-clean before the sweep goes through. Getting rid of some of those larger items, so it's a quicker process.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't easily help out with some trash bags, and if they get some people put together and want to do that. No, I don't see a problem with that at all. Yeah, we can use all the help on those kind of things, especially when you look at Romer Park and that there's lots of, and selfishly, there's lots of weeds down there that we'd love to have pickers on.
Okay.
So
I'll pass that along.
no, you bet.
And then I had a dinner with the Youth County Coalition. One of the things that was brought up to me that was a county-wide problem that they've noticed is that they're feeling like the vapes and the cigarettes and the tobacco and the alcohol, are becoming more of a normal for their generation. And so just finding ways to kind of reduce that. And they kind of came to me with that on trying to find a brainstorm to help them with that on a county level, but also bringing it to our city level.
Were those discussions linked with the CTC?
They were not, but I started talking with the CTC lead. And she's at a conference this week or next week getting ready for it. And she said, when she gets back, we can talk further about that.
That'd be a great link because that program is already set up. We're funding that. And that would be a beautiful way to bring that together and get some support for that. Great. Appreciate that.
And that's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you. Jeff?
Yeah, just see if there's any update on the cost would be to do public Wi-Fi at the parks.
I don't have anything for you.
No, that's all I have.
Okay. Cheryl, you come back for,
Get this part.
get this part. I'm glad you're home, Steve.
Glad we made it. Quick question about the Everbridge. I appreciated that came out to us and I'm trying to get that set up. And how is that going to be dealt with moving forward for our citizens in the city? How are we going to get them to sign up for it as well? And then secondly is that I'd like to maybe, this is the setting, but I'd like to pursue more with trying to get us a youth council going as well. And so maybe to meet with you and talk with the staff that has worked with you councils before. And Mike has wanted to be involved with that too, and so see what we can do with the youth council possibilities moving forward. And really coordinate with the Bonneville Terrace group and things like that.
Okay.
Was there, but
On an update on Everbridge, we posted on Facebook this last week to promote that and to get some information out. Also, the week in review and newsletter article is going to be on signing up for Everbridge and the benefit of that. And we're going to keep a constant QR code and an Everbridge, placard on our newsletter so that people can go on there and grab that QR code and link over to Everbridge. Yes.
follow up with that is that I met with the state president for the area here. For the east side anyway, and talked a little bit about Everbridge. And he was very open to seeing if there was some way that we could coordinate with the local communities that way.
Good.
We might work with Amy and their community and see if there's some coordination that we could also do through some of those entities that are within our area. That might be another factor to try to get some word out and some participation out.
That would be tremendous. And linking us together, Michael included me in an email conversation with his faith-based East Stake.
Yes.
You're West Stake, right?
That's the same state.
Oh, you're both same? Okay. So I need to get someone on apparently West Side. And then I do want to talk with Amy and the pastor with the Methodists, because they're also an important link as an evacuation center. They're actually identified as an evac center. And so, yeah, I would love to link that together and get it into various bulletins and things. That'd be great.
I
So
do
what-
have some information.
So what do you need, what do you need, what?
You have to probably engage that communication.
Just talking with them about the willingness, and then he told me why I met with them, but you are in West State, Jeff is,
Correct.
and so he would have contacts.
Oh, okay.
Or with
Okay,
individuals there.
that'd be great. Having the faith-based organizations brought together is very much a part of the NIMS program and the national front on communicating with communities. Because whether you're here or somewhere else, those faith-based organizations have a very real link to the community and can really do a lot of good to bring people together and encourage even the trust in a system. Like Everbridge, if someone just says, well, I'm going to give them all this information, how do I know it's secure? Things like Everbridge, and they are a national platform, obviously they're going to be targets. There is no question. That's when you've got that much information about every person with their phone numbers, addresses, and whatever, what city they're in and everything. That's obviously a target, and we can't guarantee that can't be breached, because every day you've got a lot of guys, very sophisticated people, trying to mess up with stuff. But Everbridge, now that you've brought it up, both links to the county system. There would be a dispatch notification. In Everbridge, you also have if there is a cell phone in a certain geographic area, it will get the information regardless of whether they signed up for Everbridge or not. If it's that serious, let's say you have a tornado coming, it's on its way, you can see it in Roy and it's coming this way, every cell phone will be notified. They don't have to sign up for that for life safety, but that's strictly life safety, and that's all managed through the county. But when they go in and they sign up for Washington Terrace, and they show their address for Washington Terrace, they can click 4 different categories of what they want information on, whether it's events, utility problems, streets, something else. There's like 4 of them. We won't be overusing this. We're not going to be using it all the time for various situations, but on an emergency water shut off, we probably would. Hey, it's the middle of the night, we got to send out this information. It's on Everbridge, the people in the city. We may or may not geogrid it, but we're going to go through training as a staff to know how to operate it and to be able to know what appropriate parameters that we can send out with Everbridge. So it's a really great platform. We're actually linked with Davis County, Cache County, Box Elder County on the contract that is for Everbridge in this area, and it's managed through Weaver County emergency managers. And so yeah, we're making a big push on that, getting your faith-based organizations on board with that, and communication with staff and with us will be really helpful as well. Literally the week before the tornado, I was meeting with both of the state presidents in my office on emergency management. And as a city, we'll refer to that as a faith-based organization. In this community, the LDS Church is very much a dominant religion, and that is just the way it is. And they have a very good way of communicating with their congregations. Again, the same, we'll be reaching out to the Methodists to gain a relationship there as well. And that communication, when the tornado hit, when we went on the phone, it's that networking. It's so simple, but this is networking you do at Utah League of Cities and Towns. It's the networking you do here in the city, throughout the county, even with the own churches in our communities. So getting together with them and having that one-on-one, it's so helpful. So you got me tangentified, so forgive me.
Do we also coordinate with the hospital with that? at all?
Very much. We actually get invited to their emergency management meeting. I get invited to those. I think Clay gets invited to those as well. And we occasionally meet with them on emergency management and know their emergency management team or have known in the past. We're rebooting that a bit more right now.
Safety. Important. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Zeke.
Just wondering if there's any update on that, water billing thing we talked about last time?
Yeah, water, as far as how the water bills are billed after like the minimum or in the next series, it's per gallon. It's just, if someone uses 4,003 gallons, they'll be charged for the 4,000 gallons, and then the different rate structure that would be from 4,000 to 5,000 per gallon.
Right, so my question was, like, if someone's using 4,003 gallons and 4,860 gallons, it's getting charged exactly the same.
No,
No?
they're charged per gallon,
Per gallon.
per gallon.
Right, that's what,
Just a high end.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, %.
that's good.
So it's like 0.00055 cents per gallon. So it's just charged per gallon.
All right, hey, that's good news. Thank
Yeah.
you for looking into that.
Yeah, no problem. It's based on it's the rate. So on our paperwork and on our documentation, they go into the next rate structure. And the rate structure is based on 1,000 gallons. Then you have the next rate structure that comes in for the next 1,000. But when they're billed per gallon.
Okay.
So they're not paying for the full like 1,000 gallons. No, they're just paying for the amount that they use above the 4,000.
Thank you.
And then if it's 5,500, they'll be paying the 4,000 rate plus the rate that is that next 1,000 and the 500 gallons.
It's like our tax.
Hmm?
It's like our tax. Cumulative.
Yeah, yep. And that is water and sewer. So, yeah, super simple.
He would like to thank a resident of ours that kind of brought that to our attention, and I think we've all kind of learned something from that that's the way it should be. And that's the way it is. I didn't know that. I thought it was completely different. That's fair. But I guess I never worked out with it.
Yeah.
You need to start, so I can kind of check it out.
Oh, that's beautiful, you always wanted.
Yeah. We're gonna do that. Thanks, Steve. Jill?
I had a citizen reach out to me after taking the survey and, talked about the, my hometown Ogden, what a great program that is in Ogden. And she was wondering if there was any way that could be something that we do here. Obviously, it's a privately organized thing. The city just cooperates with them. So I just wanted to pass along and see if that's something that came up. There were citizens that organized that, or partnered somehow with Ogden, if that's something that as a city we would be willing to support and participate in.
What is it called?
My hometown Ogden.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a fantastic program that helps clean up and also give education and financial and great resources for the residents of Ogden.
Yeah, so last year I met with that group.
Mhm.
I went down there and volunteered and
Yeah. I
worked with
know
them, and I met with the people that run it.
too. Mhm,
In fact, the regional guy happened to be here in Ogden,
mhm,
and I spoke with him and said we would be interested.
mhm,
And I have his contact information,
mhm.
and I've been in contact saying we would be interested. They're not ready to expand it beyond what they have,
Okay,
because they're in several communities and
Right.
as it is. So I like the idea, but I don't know that we can get them here, but maybe as an extension of the Ogden group. Because they have specific leaders in each area that are volunteer leaders. And it is supported greatly by missionaries called from Church of Jesus Christ to work in that program. And I actually met with, I can see his face, Elder. I don't know his last name now, that was responsible for it at the church level. And let him know we're interested. So I don't know if there's any activity going on that, but
Okay.
we'll stay in touch with that,
Fantastic.
because it is a good program.
That's everything.
Thank you, John. Couple things. How long is the survey gonna be going? I didn't see anything on
It drops in November 1st, I believe.
November first, oh, okay. Get on there and get going. And Everbridge is ready to go. We can scan.
Yes,
the
absolutely.
newsletter,
It's
and
fully,
I got it on my phone. So I guess,
So I have it installed, but there's been no activity on it.
no,
Okay.
okay, but we can sign up. We're ready to sign up on that right now.
yes,
Okay.
everyone can sign up. I didn't want to make that available for people to sign up
Okay,
until they could actually do so. So we had a training at the county a week or so ago. Went through kind of the parameters of that and got some clarification of what we can and cannot do. And so we are full steam ahead on residents signing up. And really everywhere that we can to encourage people to do that would be very helpful to them.
okay. I'll be on
yep.
it right away. All right, thank you. I've been doing a lot of work down in Romer parking lot down there, baseball fields, is done being asphalted. Looks like the fence is probably done as of this evening.
Probably
Have you heard anything on the slurry?
slurry's going in on Friday. And painting.
Okay, we have a baseball tournament on Friday and Saturday. We had a
Okay.
baseball tournament last Friday and Saturday. And they
Okay.
had the slurry going down on Friday, they had to change it to Monday, but they never did it on Monday.
Okay,
Thursday and Friday is supposed to be snowing.
okay, let me check, let me circle
Will you follow
around with Jake.
Jake, because I
Obviously,
told him we can't do it on Friday or Saturday.
okay, let me double check with
You
him and
will
see.
check?
You bet.
Yeah, that
Yep.
would work.
Yep, that's unfortunate. Okay, and you know what? I've been known to misquote Jake before.
Okay, I did not contact them. I figured they wouldn't do it. It's too cold on Thursday and Friday. The weather's not.
Yeah, Thursday's not gonna work. Let me just double check with Jake.
So, okay, follow up, but I think the fence is done. Drove down there a couple times today and the fence is done. Another thing on the Lower Park, which is something kind of fun. I've gotten with our Lions Club and the Lions Club through, Carlos. Carlos has ordered 6 new benches for, Roller Park South, I guess. Lions Club has actually already paid for those benches and are on their way to be here within the week. And so we're gonna get those hopefully installed, soon possible.
Who does the install and all
We,
that?
we do the install.
So does that mean concrete and
Concrete.
bolts and all that we have to
All
provide?
we have to provide is bolts. We've got enough concrete down there. We're gonna put right into the existing concrete. So, correct?
Yep,
The sidewalks are huge.
yep.
So we'll put 4. 2 on the south side of the playground, 2 on the west side of the playground, and we'll put 1 in front of each pickleball. So,
That was actually going to be on my council communication with, so that I could celebrate the $6,000 that the mayor and the Lions Club, meaning the Lions Club, put together to help us out with some benches down there. People have really been wanting them.
yeah,
And so they stepped up. They've done a lot of help in the neighborhood for many things. And you go throughout the parks, and there's quite a few parks with Lions Club benches in them. We appreciate their support.
I
For
think
sure.
every bench in the city is a Lions bench. So we got a good deal. We bought 6 for the price of 3 or 4 that we bought 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Price went down, shipping went down. It's like, what?
What?
Yeah.
Days worth.
So I said, well, if I buy 2 more, you can give us more off, and they give us more off. So Carlos has been extremely helpful on that, so.
Appreciate it.
Paid for the bench, paid for the shipping, paid for And then our guys will do the installation, pretty much they'll just bolt them into the concrete. And we'll have some plaques on some of them that honor some present lions and former lions.
Yep.
That have passed on, so, look for those around the parks and stuff, we'll have a couple down there probably.
Yeah.
They're making up. See that, so that'll be fun, get those, I've had a lot of people. Didn't know they were that important, but I guess they are.
It is essential.
So we'll get those, so I'm pretty excited about that. So hopefully we'll get that in before the snow flies. We need to do that when the snow flies on a good day.
That's right.
So we'll get it in. That's all I had. Tom, turn over to you.
Okay, speaking of Romer Park, we're gonna be working with Blue, BLU. They're one of the companies that actually gave us a proposal for the master park planning. We ended up going with another firm, but as we worked with the other firm, they did a fine job. There's not a problem there. But we saw that Blue could bring some thoughts and some ideas of what we're gonna be doing with the restroom and sunshades and things there on phase 3 and 4. So we'll be working with them on 3 and 4 for the small, minimal, shall we say, a minimalistic restroom with the sunshades and things and the rustic playground. And that would be basically phase 2, or excuse me, 3. And then phase 4 is up on the hill for the dog park and that kind of that people place up on the bench and kind of making sure the details on that pathway are taken care of. So we're going to break those into two areas of focus. And they'll be putting together a visioning document for us to see the details of what that's going to look like. Because from phase 1 and 2, we were able to get so much done during 1 and 2 that it's really changed how much we need to do for 3 and 4 to get this thing to completion. So we're looking at some pretty good savings on the back end as far as what the total is going to cost. But we need to get both the visioning documents taken care of and then construction documents. So we'll be working with them on the visioning documents and the construction documents and coming to you for a budget adjustment, actually, the first meeting in November to get the funding in place to be able to do the visioning work, which is, if I'm not mistaken, not to exceed $7,000. And then we're looking at construction documents somewhere in the neighborhood, if I'm not mistaken, 17,000 for that. And then we'll be able to put a package together with that to get it into ramp for grant applications. But we need to get all of that queued up so that we're ready to go to move forward. So just as kind of that warning that you'll have a budget adjustment, I wanted it to be, it would have been nice to have it today, but I didn't want to have a surprise and say, well, who's Blue? What are we talking about here? But they're a well-vetted firm. They do a lot of work actually with Utah State and with their nature centers and their open areas. This particular playground we're trying to do for that natural looking one, we've kind of talked about it quite a bit, is that those huge boulders and the chance for kids to put up some slack lines between those, some log structures where the kids can climb on those and have really deep softball and have something where they get out and they can have a tactile experience. And there's not going to be a ton of equipment in there. There's not going to be lots and lots of it, but that is there's going to be pretty creative. Hopefully for the mind and the body of these kids playing in there. Dog park, we've got some good ideas on how that's going to go in up above and coming back for some of that. So Blue, we'll have a budget adjustment at our next meeting. We'll notice that accordingly. Any questions on that though, before I jump off? Any concerns? Any delight that we're moving forward with that?
I'd love to hear that the budget is looking like it won't be quite as expensive.
That will be a very good thing because we were not liking $1 million for that. Yeah.
Also, there's that other grant that I looked at when we went to the Europe. You know, the cities and towns thing of it. I don't know if we looked into that any further.
I've been looking in that quite a bit. there is very much an outdoor and trail component to that, that we don't fit into that puzzle piece very well. Yeah. I'm not done looking at it, but I've checked on it over the last year or so. However, looking at it again, it may be a little wonky on how we can get it to fit, but that doesn't mean we can't find a way to, trim the edge just a little bit and get that puzzle piece to fit. So it's not dead. How's that for a roundabout answer?
You mentioned a ramp. Ramp will be on your ballot this year in a couple of weeks, so please vote to support.
Consider
ramp.
what you might vote there, right?
Yeah, yeah, consider ramp. It may help several communities in the county, including ours.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
please study that.
In our last, as you guys know, in our last, What's Right with Washington Terrace, we talked quite a bit about ramp, and got some feedback from one of the commissioners, being grateful that we have gratitude for Graham. We don't just take it for granted here. It has absolutely accomplished things that we never could have accomplished. Very much like all the grants that the team does. The ramp for parks is one of the most challenging areas for us to come up with funding. So yeah, it's been a very, very helpful opportunity for us. So the sheltering fees, we've been meeting with the county on the sheltering fees. The shelter they are a no-kill facility. Because they're a no-kill facility, that requires a higher level of processing and how they manage animals. In so doing, though, they're able to get grants to help bring up some funding that comes from like Best Friends and other organizations to help with the no-kill shelters. But it also takes a higher level of staffing, and that facility is getting a little bit old. So they're looking at some funding needs to try to update their facility some, and also hire some part-time employees and things of that nature. There is an impact to us. I don't know yet for sure what that impact's looking like, but you're looking at probably somewhere around 5,000 annually. It'll be coming around during budget time, but we're trying to work with them to determine what their needs really are. I'll get more information out to all of you on what that's looking like. But they're looking for some help on animal sheltering. So that'll be coming around as well. They do a very, very good job. They're a very large shelter, pretty significant in this area. We actually are able to shelter and work with animals at a considerably more economic rate than comparable shelters in other counties that are surrounding us. Particularly Davis County, we're quite a bit more affordable than even Davis for the activities that go on there. But just like our combined efforts have come together to create law enforcement that works out really well for us in affordability and service, that shelter has really helped us to where we don't have to stand up a shelter in our own city. We partnered with them to help with the bond for the creation of that shelter several years ago. Maybe 18 years ago, maybe 20, I don't know. I don't remember the date. I wasn't directly involved with it at that time, but because of that, we haven't had to build a shelter. Some cities have chose not to and didn't go that direction, and that's fine. But they've been a good partner for us and will continue to be. But again, more information will come to you shortly. I think that's about it for me.
So please celebrate about our senior center.
Oh, okay.
Yes. That was a bit of concern you had, but it's time to celebrate, isn't it?
Celebrate, okay, great question. Yes, senior center. We got word, Mayor got word first. How'd that go, Mayor?
Well, I got word at WACOG, the Area Council of Governments, in an open meeting, that that because of a KSL news article that was put out about 2 weeks ago during their conversations, that they did a turnaround in about 3 days and figured, why are we cutting senior centers when we probably should be increasing senior centers because of the senior population in Utah? One of the youngest states will become one of the oldest states in 30 years, so. So that opened some eyes, and we will probably, I've almost been given a promise that we will keep our senior center and keep all the senior centers that we currently have in the county, so. There's not been a final decision, but people from the board chairman said it would probably stay the same.
Yep.
So we're excited about that. We haven't gotten a written thing, but he announced it to the world, so I'm announcing it to the world, so I can't come back now.
That's right.
I was gonna say, so the secret is public shaming
Public shaming?
Well,
for them, because we had to spend so much time worrying about it, going back and forth, back and forth. We have one article, one video in the news and the media,
it's,
it's sort of overnight, oh, no, we got this.
Yeah.
well, it seemed like it.
You know, it may have been part of the straw,
Yeah.
you know, kind of like the
Yeah,
straw that
I-
really kind of helped
I
because,
attended a couple of meetings and I think we saw some changes in some people.
so you're not wrong, Z.
Yeah, but that was a good straw.
But,
To place on the camel's back.
It
It was
is,
a good start.
it was a good extra bundle.
So we're keeping our fingers crossed, and if they keep their word, we'll keep all.
Yeah.
And again, is it the first of the year that is determined, January or?
Well, it's supposed to be October of.
Well, it was supposed to be October.
19th or October 9th or October.
Yeah.
So
So it could be any time.
it could be any time.
Yeah, it could be, but they've got to identify where the funding's going to come from. But the funding's in place for the next year. We were actually scheduled to meet with them last Friday to talk about how they wanted to have us manage their people for their programs. The answer was going to be no. We will continue to provide the service. South Ogden will continue to help with some funding to help keep it open part-time. And we'll stay on that track. But taking over their people gives no reason for them to continue making sure that the funding is in place. It separates them from a real link to the programming at the center. And we were not willing to cut that string. And that was not just we, but you as a council. You made it clear to us, no, that's not something we're gonna do. So we were not prepared to go that way, but they canceled the meeting once they made the announcement that we're good to go. So yes, thanks for the reminder, Cheryl.
Yeah, true. Okay. Thank you, Tom. Upcoming events. October 24th, planning commission meeting, tentatively, I haven't really heard, but pencil that in on your calendar if you're interested. November 5th is election day. November 5th is also city council day, seeing as we don't have an election in this building anymore, it's all by mail or somewhere else, we can have our regular city council meeting and work session at 5, city council at 6. November 19th, city council work session and city council meeting. And then November 22nd, 23rd, we announced this months ago, that will be our city council retreat. So we hope you all plan ahead, schedule a couple hours to spend with us on Friday and Saturday, the 22nd, 23rd of November. And then we're only talking Thanksgiving. City offices will be closed on November 28th and 29th. Closed for the Thanksgiving holiday.
Yep.
Snuck up on me like nothing this year.
Mayor, I have an update
We have an update
tomorrow for slurry seal.
tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, that'll work.
Tomorrow. Slurry seal tomorrow.
Striking.
And I'll ask him about striping. I'm hoping in that afternoon.
It was funny. I said, what's it? Hey, but strike, let's do what people do. You know, several hundred people down there, ball tournament. And last Friday, this guy came, parked their big old truck along the backside. And I got a call at 1 o'clock and said, fence guys are stuck in here. Nobody's moving, everybody's blocking in and everybody's blocked in, this whole row of cars can't move, they can't get out. The people have blocked it. I thought, I knew. I just thought, see how smart people are, it was kind of fun. But you know what? Take care of itself, so. So striking is fun, but it's not really necessary.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll do with that.
yep.
Okay. I have nothing else, and there is nothing else on the agenda for this evening, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.